Hello everyone, in this video we are going to talk about the chemical reactions of ethers. So first of all, let's make a flowchart to understand how many types of chemical reactions are we going to learn under this category. So there are majorly two types of chemical reactions that ethers exhibit, of which the first one is cleavage of carbon-oxygen bond in ethers. The first one is cleavage of carbon-oxygen bond in ethers. And the second type of chemical reaction is electrophilic substitution reaction. The second one is electrophilic substitution reaction. When the carbon-oxygen bond in ethers break down, ethers tend to exhibit a variety of chemical reactions, and we are going to talk about those chemical reactions now. Let's take a fresh page. Please make sure you start writing the running notes if you want to learn these reactions and be able to remember them easily. So let's get started with the first reaction. I'm taking a schematic equation over here. So this is ether molecule. This is the ether general structure. Ether is nothing but oxygen suspended between two carbon atoms of alkyl groups or aryl groups. So I'm taking one ether, and when we take this ether in presence of HX, which is nothing but hydrohalide, it leads to formation of a product. Let us observe what that product is. And let us also observe how exactly the product is formed in this case. Okay. So when you take ether in presence of hydrohalide, the bond between the oxygen and one of the carbon atoms of ether will break down. Over here we are talking about R and R, which is nothing but this is a symmetric ether. The ether that you are having, a symmetric ether. So in case of symmetric ethers, it does not really make a difference. You choose to break the bond between first R and oxygen or the second R and oxygen. Alright. So over here I'm breaking the bond between the first alkyl group and oxygen, because oxygen is more electronegative than carbon atom of this alkyl group. Oxygen takes away the bond pair, and that's why oxygen will be having the negative charge. And similarly, because carbon is less electronegative than oxygen, it takes a positive charge because it is losing the bond pair to oxygen. So you're having R plus and RO minus generated from the symmetric ether. Very similarly, in the second case, which is in presence of HX, in case of HX, the bond between hydrogen and halogen breaks down, and this bond breakage leads to formation of H plus because hydrogen is less electronegative than halogen, and X minus because X is more electronegative than hydrogen. Now what happens is the opposite charges would be attracting each other. This R plus alkyl group with positive charge would be attacked by X minus, and O minus would be attacked by H plus, leading to formation of what? Leading to formation of RX. Along with RX, you're going to have ROH. So RX is nothing but haloalkane and ROH is nothing but alcohol. So what exactly is happening when a symmetrical ether is reacted in presence of hydrohalide? The symmetrical ether is breaking down to produce haloalkane and alcoholic molecule. So now in order to understand this better, what shall we do is let us take an actual ether as an example. Here we have taken a schematic ether, isn't it? Which is like R in presence of alkyl group. But now let us take actual ether. So when I'm taking actual ether, like what? Like CH3O, CH3 and HX, what could happen? Now you try to apply the same technique that we have discussed in this example reaction, and you try to write the products. The bond between the alkyl group and oxygen breaks down. Similarly, the bond between the hydrogen and halogen breaks down. So you'll have H plus and X minus over here, O minus and CH3 plus produced over here. Opposite charges would unite with each other, leading to formation of CH3X. And similarly, you will be having CH3OH produced. So you have methyl halide and alcoholic molecule produced, right? So now we spoke about the ethers in which you are having alkyl groups connected to oxygen, right? So now let us talk about ether in which you have at least one aryl group connected, like this. You have a benzene which is connected to oxygen, and this oxygen is connected to another alkyl group. So this is also a ether, but then you call it as aryl ether because you're having an aryl group attached to oxygen. So in case of this kind of ethers where you have at least one aryl group, what might happen? When these ethers react with HX, they also show up the same to same mechanism that we have learnt in the first two cases. The bond between the oxygen and the carbon breaks down. But now if you are confused about should I break the bond between oxygen and benzene or should I break the bond between oxygen and alkyl group, without any confusions, break the bond between alkyl and oxygen, alkyl carbon and oxygen. That is because phenoxide ion will be formed when you remove this R, and phenoxide ion is more stable. Okay, so now R O minus, this O will be having the negative charge because it is more electronegative, and R would acquire the positive charge because it is less electronegative. And over here as well there will be bond association, which in turn leads to formation of RX, which is nothing but alkyl halide, and along with this RX you are going to have a phenol produced like this. So this is the first type of chemical reaction exhibited by ethers, and in this first type of chemical reaction we have observed what happens when the carbon oxygen bond in ethers break down. When carbon oxygen bond in ethers break down, it leads to formation of haloalkane and alcohol. In case of symmetric ethers you don't need to be confused on which bond should you break down, but in case of asymmetric ethers like this or maybe unsymmetric ethers like this, you always need to break the bond based on the stability of the resultant alkoxide ion. Alright, so now let us quickly move on to the next reaction, which is electrophilic substitution reaction in case of ethers. Ethers exhibit variety of electrophilic substitution reactions. So first of all, let us list what all those types are, and then we'll understand about each of them in detail. So the first electrophilic substitution reaction exhibited by ethers is halogenation. And the second type of electrophilic substitution reaction exhibited by ethers is Friedel-Crafts alkylation and Friedel-Crafts acylation. So collaboratively I'm writing it as Friedel-Crafts reaction over here. So it is Friedel-Crafts reaction. As I just told you, this Friedel-Crafts reaction, there are two varieties in this. One is alkylation and the second one is acylation. All right, and now moving on with the third type of chemical reaction exhibited by ethers, third type of electrophilic substitution reaction exhibited by ethers, that is nitration. So these are the three types of electrophilic substitution reactions exhibited by ethers. So let us understand one after other. Let's get started with halogenation first. So halogenation in general refers to a substitution reaction in which you are using halogen as incoming group. Halogen as what? Halogen as incoming group. Incoming group refers to the group which is substituting an atom from the substrate or from the reactant. All right, so halogen is the incoming group over here, and this halogen is substituting a hydrogen from a ether. All right, so let us get started without any more delay by taking one example of ether. I'm taking this ether as example. This is commonly called as anisole. It's really important you learn the common names of organic molecules, which is written in the textbook, which is written in NCERT. Sometimes in exams they might ask you questions based out of common names itself. Okay, so you're taking anisole, but then its IUPAC name is phenyl alkyl ether. Alright, so now I'm taking anisole, which is a type of phenyl alkyl ether, and I'm treating this anisole with bromine, Br2. I said it is halogenation. Halogens are fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, but for the process of electrophilic substitution we prefer chlorine and bromine because of their reactivity. So I'm taking bromine, and this bromine is dissolved in ethanoic acid. Bromine is dissolved in ethanoic acid. So ethanoic acid here acts as a solvent initially. So you're dissolving bromine into ethanoic acid and you are treating anisole in presence of this mixture. In presence of ethanoic acid, bromine would be producing the electrophile of bromine, which is Br+. So Br+ electrophile would be trying to attack the ether. As you already know, if this is the functional group existing on the benzene ring, Based on the nature of the functional group, the product formation would depend if the product is ortho-para directing or if the product is meta-product. All right. So the ether functional group is OP directing group. So you can expect the attack of the electrophile either on the second carbon or on the fourth carbon, either on the ortho position or on the para position. All right. So over here, bromine would be attacking in both the places. If the bromine is attacking at the second carbon, then the product is ortho bromo product, which looks like this. And in case the bromine electrophile is attacking the para position, then the product has got to be this. And how do we name these molecules? The first one is called as ortho bromo anisole, and the second one is called as para bromo anisole. All right. So out of this ortho and para products you have, for obvious reasons, para product is more stable, so you call it as major product, and the ortho product is less stable, so you call it as minor product. In case you're confused about the reasons behind stability, ortho isomers exist in close proximity with the functional group. So there will be a constant repulsion between both of them, which leads to destability in the molecule. But that does not happen in case of para product. There will be maximum distance possible between the incoming group and the existing functional group. And hence you will be having a stability maintained. That's why the para isomers are major products. Alright. So this is example of halogenation in case of ethers, in case of aryl alkyl ethers. You can take any example of aryl alkyl ether to do this reaction. And also remember something, this is a substitution undoubtedly, and now if you're confused about what are we substituting, we are substituting the ortho hydrogen or the para hydrogen. This is a electrophilic substitution reaction, and the functional group existing is not disturbed in this process, right? So hoping that you have understood halogenation, taking you ahead with the next type of electrochemical substitution reaction, which is Friedel-Crafts reaction. So in this electrophilic substitution, there are three types majorly. First one is halogenation. We discussed it, and now we are talking about Friedel-Crafts reaction. So the second type of electrophilic substitution is Friedel-Crafts reaction. As I already told you, in Friedel-Crafts reaction, you are having two reactions in this. The first one is alkylation, the second one is acylation. So we'll talk about alkylation first, and then we'll go to acylation. Let it be alkylation or acylation, there are a few things in common, like reagents are common, and the steps that we take in order to write the product is also common. You will understand that commonality in some time. So first let us write alkylation. For alkylation, I'm again taking aryl alkyl ether. Now if you're confused about why am I taking aryl alkyl ether in every case and not alkyl ether or not dialkyl ether, the electrophilic substitution reactions are characteristic of aromatic rings like benzene. So if you're having dialkyl ether, these electrophilic substitutions are not possible. We are talking electrophilic substitutions in case of aryl alkyl ethers. Okay. So here you go with the same molecule that we have taken in the last example, last type of reaction, which is anisole. You might also call it as aryl alkyl ether, and you are treating this with the CH3Cl methyl chloride in presence of anhydrous AlCl3. And you're also using carbon disulfide over here. So what happens in presence of these reagents to anisole? Anisole in presence of these reagents would undergo electrophilic substitution reaction. Anhydrous AlCl3 acts as a catalyst, CH2 acts as a solvent. CH3Cl breaks down into Cl- and CH3+. So CH3+ acts as electrophile. Alright, so now this electrophile would be attacking the benzene ring either at the second or at the fourth carbon. At second carbon, if it is attacking, it leads to formation of ortho isomer. So you'll have CH3 substituted at ortho position, and OCH3 functional group is undisturbed. But in case it is attacking the fourth carbon, para isomer will be formed where you have the methyl group attacking the para position. So these are the products in both the cases. The first product is called orthoisomer and the second one is called para-isomer. Orthoisomer is named as 2-methoxytoluene. This is called as 2-methoxy. M has to be in cap according to IUPAC rules. 2-methoxytoluene. And this is going to be minor product. Why? Due to stability reasons. And the second molecule is called as 4-methoxytoluene because at fourth position you have the alkyl group. So this is Friedel-Crafts alkylation. This is a named reaction and hence it's very important for CBSE board preparation and also for competitive preparation. Since it is named reaction, please make sure you remember the catalyst and the reaction conditions very clearly. Now I'm talking about Friedel-Crafts acylation. In case of Friedel-Crafts acylation, we are going to take the same starting material so that we can compare both the alkylation and acylation properly. Okay. So in this case, what am I doing is, instead of taking CH3Cl, I'm taking CH3COCl, which is nothing but acyl chloride. Acyl chloride is a common name and IUPAC name of this molecule is ethanoyl chloride. So this acyl chloride is treated with anhydrous AlCl3 again, which acts as a catalyst. And in presence of anhydrous AlCl3, you will have Cl minus produced and CH3CO plus produced. So this unit acts as electrophile. And this particular electrophile would be attacking the second or the fourth position of this benzene ring. And now this results in formation of ortho and para isomers. So the ortho isomer would be consisting of CH3CO group, which is attacking the carbon through oxygen. So I would be writing it as COCH3. COCH3 group over here, and the attack is not through oxygen, sorry, it's through carbon. All right, COCH3 at ortho position, and this molecule is called as 2-methoxyacetophenone. This is called as 2-methoxyacetophenone. Okay, and because it is ortho product, this is also minor product because of less stability. And the major product is going to be OCH3, and at para position you're going to observe COCH3 group, and you call this molecule as 4-methoxyacetophenone, and this is major product because of stability. So look at the Friedel-Crafts alkylation and the second one Friedel-Crafts acylation. In case of Friedel-Crafts alkylation, you have taken CH3Cl as reagent. And in case of acylation, you have taken CH3COCl as reagent, isn't it? That's all is the difference and nothing else. The mechanism is same and also the type, electrophile attacking the benzene ring and substituting the hydrogen from ortho or para position, all of this remains same. I hope you have understood the second type of electrophilic substitution, which is Friedel-Crafts alkylation and acylation. Moving on to the third type of electrophilic substitution, which is nitration. So nitration is a process which happens in presence of nitration mixture. So nitration mixture is required for this process. And what is nitration mixture? Nitration mixture, in short, is mixture of concentrated H2SO4 and HNO3. In presence of concentrated H2SO4, this HNO3 nitric acid would be producing NO2 plus nitro electrophile, and H2SO4 acts as a catalyst. So you're taking again the very similar molecule that you have taken in last a few reactions, anisole, and this anisole in presence of nitration mixture, which is nothing but concentrated H2SO4 plus HNO3, would be undergoing attack of NO2 group either at ortho position or at para position. So if it is happening at ortho position, you will have NO2 ortho to OCH3, and if the attack is happening at para position, you will have NO2 para to OCH3 group. All right, and you call this molecule as 2-nitroanisole, and this is orthoisomer and hence this is a minor product. On other hand, the molecule, this para isomer, which is major product by nature, is called as 4-nitroanisole, and all of this have happened in presence of what? In presence of concentrated H2SO4 and HNO3. And what do we call it as? We call it as nitration mixture. Alright, so this is nitration, the third type of electrophilic substitution reaction. Let's go back and check what did we discuss so far. So far in the class we spoke about chemical reactions of ethers. And ethers can exhibit two types of chemical reactions, of which the first type is when you're talking about the cleavage between carbon-oxygen bond of the ether. Here you can take alkyl ethers to understand, or you also might take aryl alkyl ethers. This kind of reaction can be observed in alkyl ethers, aryl alkyl ethers, and also in case of aryl ethers. But otherwise, the second type of chemical reaction, which is nothing but the second type of chemical reaction, which is nothing but electrophilic substitution, is exhibited only by aryl alkyl ethers, or at least aryl ethers. Alright, so electrophilic substitution is observed only in such ethers which contain at least one aryl group with them. And there are three different types of electrophilic substitutions: halogenation, Friedel-Crafts reaction, and nitration. We discussed all of these chemical reactions with the help of examples. I hope you have understood all these reactions. In case of any doubts or questions, please keep me posted in the comment box below.